Welcome back to the Humanity Sales Podcast. I'm your host, one of your hosts, Nate Nettie. I'm CEO of Force Company. This is my business partner, Brandon Triola. He's our Chief Creative Officer. Today, we're going to get into the world of...
Leads.
Get me leads.
We need leads. Welcome to the Humanity Sales Podcast, where we talk about the marketing revolution that's happening in tech consulting and how the best businesses are elevating their brand, amplifying their message, and selling more by being more human. We're your hosts, Brandon Triola.
And I'm Nate Nettie. Let's get into it. You know, I get probably, without exaggeration, 10 cold emails a week asking... just like saying, hey, we can get you leads. I hate it.
I get 10 cold emails a week thinking I'm a lead. I actually had to create a profile avatar for my LinkedIn that says cold lead. Just so people would know I am not a warm lead for anything that you're selling.
Actually, I don't know if that's true because like I'm a natural skeptic and you're a natural like supporter. So like we will both get the same email. Hey, Nate, would you like to get 10 warm leads?
Our company helps solve the solutions in the
and I go, and you forward it to me and go, hey, these guys say that they can get us warm leads.
Should we buy this? First of all, I think I did that one time, but
so we're going to talk a little bit about demand gen today.
People be blowing up inboxes.
They do, and it is the wrong way to grow a tech business. Yeah, there are.
I'll say that cold outreach works, but it is the slow old way that works. Like fax machines work.
That's a good analogy.
You can go buy a fax machine today and you can send faxes back and forth to people.
And it will work.
It will work. They will get the fax. They'll be like, yes, Jane's dog got out again.
According to my doctor's office, there has never been another technology invented.
According to Nate's doctor's office, they are getting faxes right now. Yeah. So fax machines work, right? You guys understand this. Digital transformation leaders get this. They're trying to get the businesses that they help to quit using fax machines, to get off of spreadsheets. So cold outreach works. You could be blowing up people's inboxes and you're going to get a couple fish. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut, as they say.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it doesn't work. Like cold outreach does work. It's just the old way and it's the slow way.
Yeah. I think that most digital transformation companies are in what we call MQL jail.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Where they are required to find attribution. And attribution is taken as validation for the efforts, for the spend.
Yeah.
Although it is actually not a real indication of any kind of buying intent in most cases. It's just a way to track investment dollars, to see if we have any return. You know, I hate to break this to you guys. I don't know if this might be a hot take. This might be something you never heard before.
Just break it to me.
Did you know that just because someone downloads an ebook, it does not mean they want to spend $1 million on your implementation that day? Did you know that? Did you also know that if they download your ebook and they read a couple emails you send them afterwards, they don't want to buy? It doesn't mean they want to buy.
It doesn't mean they want to buy.
It's really interesting because most of the firms we work with are heavily invested in saying, we did this, then these people took these steps, so therefore they are qualified in this way. We did our jobs. It's because there's a lot of pressure from top down, not just to like produce deals, which is ultimately the goal, but to show clear attribution of how the deals came. This keeps us in what we call MQL jail because you're just focused on the qualification and doing things that can be tracked versus actually making a deal happen, which is why we're hired as marketing leaders.
And this isn't human.
Explain.
This is why it's not working. This is not the human way to sell digitally. It's not the human way to generate demand, to capture demand, to create demand. Yeah. This is the robotic way. This is the outdated way.
Yeah.
This is the way that doesn't establish trust.
That's what I was going to say. So in this scenario, in getting leads for B2B tech, trust wins.
Trust wins.
If you want to sell more, build more trust.
There you go.
So listen, here's the stat that will take us into this. We said this in another episode, but it's really key. Gartner did a study this year that said B2B tech buyers are spending 83% of their buying journey on their own. Before they talk to any of their top list, before they have a conversation, they are doing 83% of their journey on their own researching, which means there's about 17% of their journey left where they're talking to people. So if you're in their top 3, you get a third of that 17%. You get like 5 to 6% of their whole buying journey. It's really hard to build trust when they've spent 95% of their time not talking to you, which means that they are spending their own time deciding who they are going to trust on their own. So this is the switch between lead gen and demand gen. Lead gen says, I will search for people at the 95th percent mark of their journey who might be interested in adding us to the mix. Demand gen says, I'm going to fight tooth and nail to capture more of that 95% where I'm not even directly in contact with them. I'm going to try to fight for more space and time to influence their buying decision before they ever show up on my radar as something that I can attribute to any spend. And that is the key difference and the shift that's happening in B2B tech. So the reason why attribution and MQLs are such a barrier to this, because B2B tech buyers, if they're doing their research, they are just looking for resources to educate, to inform. And they are trusting.
They're trying to build a case to their leadership.
They're trying to make their own case, right? And so they are in effect trusting the places that are giving them this information. And so if you're heavily invested in making it easy for a potential buyer to have the best, most interesting, most helpful information, you remove all gates, you remove all attribution, and you just provide the most valuable content for free. So what happens is they spend more time interacting with your brand. They spend more time building trust with you long before they talk to you. And then when it comes to the time when they want to reach out, you're actually... You're not just spending 5% of their time. You've actually been a part of 20% of their buying journey because you've been helping them search. But by and large, because ELTs and private investment groups, they don't understand this. When they invest 5% conservatively, very conservatively of their revenue into marketing, they want to know where every dollar went. And they want to apply a dollar amount to every lead and qualify it and watch it move all the way through the funnel.
Scrap it.
Right. So that prevents people from capturing more of the buyer journey because they're too invested in tracking the buyer journey. So
it's really crazy when you break it down. Like, it's just wild to me. It's another one of those things that just goes to show you the old ways of doing things. They're not only not human, they're preventing growth. Because we're stuck in these old mindsets.
And I say all that to say, you don't have to throw attribution out the window. You just have to get more creative with attribution. You can certainly attribute a sale or an interaction. You can figure out what an SQL actually looks like. And sometimes, most of the time, it's a self-identification. So let's just say you're a digital transformation firm out there and you have a unique product in a specific market. I've been using healthcare as an example because it's a pretty broad market. Let's just say you're in Microsoft and you built this really, really great thing. And it is let's just say it's a revenue optimizer. I'm just going to make
Sounds
that
awesome.
This is your tech, right?
Sign me up.
And you know that healthcare CFOs, like when you get in the room with them, they're like, oh my gosh, we've been looking for this. We love it. We've been searching. So let's just say you decided that you and your team were going to take your money and you were going to educate the market. You were going to invest everything you could, not into getting people in the funnels or into downloading ebooks or, opting in some way. You were just going to give away. Here's how you need to think about revenue. Anything relevant or relative or tangential to your product, you are going to show, hey, we know.
You're going to help them understand.
You're going to help them
coach
understand.
You're going to teach them.
You're going to advise them long before they even opt into anything. You're just going to give away free value and you're going to raise your hand in the market.
That sounds to me like if somebody were to do that, that would be a trustworthy thing to do. I would feel like if you did that and I was the CFO, I would feel like I could trust you.
We do this all the time in other industries. If you look at real estate, right? There's there's Remax, but then there's like a guy. He's like Dan the house guy.
Yeah.
What does he do? He just helps you. Like, hey guys, I'm on YouTube today.
Guy.
I'm going to talk to you about
Dan, if you're watching.
I'm going to talk to you about Northeast Ohio and what it's like to live here, or I'm going to talk to you about Northern California and what it's like to live here.
Yeah.
Here are the pros. Here are the cons.
Yeah.
They are just helping you in your research, and guess what? You end up trusting them. You go, these guys know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
By the time they actually raise their hand, you can just ask them, how did you hear about us?
I have a great analogy about
There's your
this.
attribution right there. How did you hear about us? Well, I watched a YouTube video where you taught me about healthcare revenue, and I was like, man, this is really interesting. Or I downloaded this thing that was free and ungated, got my interest. I started following your podcast. All of a sudden, they have helped you attribute because you have disregarded the traditional ways, and you are more invested in just helping.
Yeah. Really great story to kind of make this. I'll use a B2C example. My wife and I, a couple of years ago, we bought our first minivan. It was time. I'm the minivan dad. I have made minivans cool again. We have a Toyota Sienna. We absolutely love it. We have 3 kids, so
it's a hybrid. I say to him all the time, one of us has to work so the other can drive a hybrid Sienna.
It's a hybrid. I mean, I tell you what, it's smooth. We pulled up one time to something that required us to valet it, and this 16-year-old kid came out and like he just kind of looked at me, and I said, bro, just drive it and tell me how you feel about it when I come back to get it. I came back after we had done. We were at dinner. We were done. I came back around to get it, and he pulls it around. He gets out and he goes, bro. He goes, I was like, right? He was like, you should have told me. He's like, that was sick. So, anyways. This isn't a pitch for minivans, although if you have more than 2 kids, you're kidding yourself if you don't have one yet. But basically, the guy that sold us this minivan at the Toyota dealership is the leading car sales guy in like all of Middle Tennessee. He wins award after award. And I was like, dude, how do you do it? And he goes, oh, well, it's easy. I just upload YouTube videos of all the new cars that come out, and I break down the features and how to use every single car.
He's just helping.
He's helping people understand their vehicle. And so people that are shopping and buying for vehicles, they find his videos and they go to the dealership and his name's Steven. They ask to get time with Steven and they buy a freaking car from him.
Yeah, because he has helped them make a decision, a very hard decision.
He's killing it, by the way.
An expensive decision, a decision with a lot of downside if you get it wrong. That's how it is for B2B tech companies and tech consultants. Remember, you are selling to human
beings
on the other side of this thing that have a lot at stake for their jobs. So I'm a marketing leader at a tech company, and I'm thinking about, I am a leader of a company that needs digital transformation, and I'm thinking about hiring a company. This purchase that I'm going to make, 50, 60, 70, $100 million expense at the enterprise level for a given platform integration, for an ERP system. These decisions are massive.
Huge.
So how do you expect to just qualify a lead? Oh, they downloaded an ebook. They're ready to spend $50 million with us.
A white paper.
It's just ridiculous that this is even how we keep scoring anymore. Yeah. You have to be invested in educating your market, giving away free value, and helping them understand the world that they're in a way that they could not on their own long before that they signal that they're interested. That is the concept of demand gen. How it shakes out is very interesting because that's where you get into innovation.
Yeah.
Because you have to look contextually into every specific market,
Yep.
every buyer that's at the table, and you get a group of people as stakeholders that understand these markets together. You learn from the market and you say, what would be the most effective way to provide them with constant, valuable advisory information before we ever know that they want to buy something from us? You come up with stuff like doing a podcast. You do video series. You do direct mail. You invent your own channels. Yeah. You build a platform. You start an event. Whatever it is, you are now untethered from.
Yep.
We run ads on Facebook and we try to get people to download our ebook. You're untethered from these traditional ways. Now your team is freed up to be creative and just solve the problem of How do we connect with these humans at the center of this problem more effectively?
I heard somebody say last week that attention is the new oil.
Oh, that's interesting.
Isn't that crazy? Like attention is the new oil. The brands that focus on grabbing attention, creating something that gets attention are the ones that are winning. And this is just this idea like packaged into a phrase, like if attention is the new oil, then what are you doing to grab attention? And it's really hard. Like B2B tech is a big echo chamber.
Yeah.
And I actually think what a great time to be innovative and creative and do things and come up with channels and strategies that just create and grab attention.
Yeah.
And that's hard to track.
It is
That's
hard
hard to do attribution around, but it freaking works because it's the human way to generate demand. It's the human way to generate leads. And the businesses that we see doing this,
crushing. I'll give a very specific example, and then we can wind the topic down. So we were asked to we were challenged with the task of growing a specific business unit at a large consultancy, in increasing the reach. It's already very successful. The people who run it are extremely brilliant.
Yeah.
But they wanted to go even further into this market. And so in tandem, in collaboration with the business unit leader, together, this is key. We're not secret geniuses that just go into a room and come back with the ideas. It's all collaborative. It's all working like very much together to come up with what the plan is. Together with a group of very smart people, including the business leader, we came up with this idea to have this business leader write a book about a very specific point of view that after decades of success in this industry, they knew would really resonate with the market. Yep. And so it wasn't just, oh, let's write a book. We've done it. It was this concept of creating demand for consulting services.
Yes.
By elevating an expert in the field with a strong point of view and building a platform around that expert to see if they would attract buying ready people in the market. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. We helped them write a book. We launched a platform. We
built them a website.
They have a whole sort of like tons of funnels built around the book. We haven't even got into what they actually sell.
Yeah.
This is just generating demand for the practice as a whole by propping them up on a platform and getting attention. So what ended up happening was we built this out over a year. So this is another thing about demand gen. It's programmatic. It takes time.
Yeah.
It takes time to build interest and build demand. We built it out over a year, launched the book. It was very successful, launched a bunch of nurture campaigns around it, promoted the book, et cetera, et cetera. What ended up happening was we had the lowest cost per lead that they had ever seen for people that actually came through the book channel over into wanting to buy or interested in this service that the consulting firm sold. Lowest like by multiples.
Yeah.
Like staggeringly
almost looked
low.
Fake.
Yeah, almost like we missed the decimal point was in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Staggering low cost per lead. Extremely high click-through rate on everything because the content was so pointed and the content was so focused.
And it came from a person with a face that could be trusted.
That was helpful.
It didn't come from a business.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were helping during a buy journey on a very specific thing. And the click-through rates were through the roof.
Yeah.
The opt-in rates were through the roof. The engagement after the fact on the emails was through the roof. And what ended up happening, $6 million were added to the CRM from that demand gen
Market
effort.
qualified pipeline.
Qualified pipeline. And it was unbelievable, the return on the investment to create demand in this way. And so when you start to hear companies go, we should do demand gen, out with lead gen, your ears should perk up. This is your opportunity to innovate. This is your opportunity to think outside the box, to build brand momentum, to leverage the brand momentum that you already have and amplify it, to keep the ball rolling, to bring it into new markets, to break into new markets. Stop thinking about everything from the standpoint of attribution.
Yep.
We can help you attribute
Yeah.
after the fact, but stop thinking about marketing qualified, sales qualified, how many are in, how many are coming through, how many are selling. You can still grow doing that. You will grow incrementally. You will not grow by leaps and bounds in the same way that you would by creating a market swell of interest, by capturing more of the buyer journey, the time the buyer is spending looking for help.
Yes.
Capture more of their attention during that time without being able to attribute it in some way. You'll sell more.
Nate, give us the one memorable takeaway that you want these business leaders to walk away with about this whole idea of demand gen.
One memorable takeaway about demand gen to walk away with is that you can start to experiment in small ways.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a binary programmatic switch.
This
in
big
any way.
investment and dump of money into something. Yeah.
You can experiment and invest in extremely small ways. Get a little group together and say, guys, I want to try something different. I want to try something that's going to take a year to prove whether or not it will have worked. It's an experiment. Just begin to run little experiments in market that break the mold a little bit.
Find one of the biggest pain points that maybe one of your persona has and come up with we call it a helpful campaign. What's a campaign that we can come up with digitally, maybe even in person, that will help this person overcome the pain without asking them to buy anything from us.
And don't remove all barriers to getting the help.
Yeah.
Forget,
Give it away.
Forget
Ungate
email.
it.
Forget email opt-ins. Some of you just fell out of your chair. Ungate it. Give it away.
Yeah.
Give it all away and just test and see what happens. I'm telling you that over the next decade, what you will see is companies that are invested in building demand. It's like a snowball. The bigger it gets, the bigger it gets.
Yeah.
It grows exponentially. So start investing in it now, and you'll start to see the fruition come.
Demand
come to fruition.
Demand gen is the human way to generate real leads.
Bye.